Hi everyone, welcome to the third video on the video series on blockchain oracles. So in the past we have covered what does oracles mean in blockchain space, what are some of the use cases of them, what are the different categories of oracles, and in this one we'll see what are the different types of blockchain oracles that exist in the Ethereum space, and we'll pick one of them which is like one of the most popular one, and then do a hands-on demo of fetching price data feed from it into Solidity smart contract. So let's get started. Okay, so this is the Ethereum documentation. If you see, Ethereum has listed some of the blockchain oracles for you, and I want to talk about one of the resource that is very handy in the DeFi space, which is a website called the DeFi Llama. So if you see here, they have this different category called oracles, and here you can see in Ethereum, what is the total value secured by these oracles? If you see, 66% is being used by Chainlink, and then we have 23% being used by Chronicle, and then rest of them. So you see here that Chainlink is having almost majority of the Oracle use cases in the Ethereum space. So in this video, we'll focus a little bit more on Chainlink and I'll show you a demo. So let's go to the Chainlink website. So this is how it looks like. And if you see, I'll go to the Dev Hub, and here we have different sort of resources for developers. And in our case, we'll pick a very beginner friendly thing, which is data feeds. So data feeds basically means I want my smart contract to be able to get the asset pricing data through Chainlink. So for our example, since we are focusing on Ethereum, I'll try to get the data for ETH, which is the Ethereum native cryptocurrency in USD. And so one of the most important and the cool things about Chainlink is they are decentralized in nature. What it means is the data feeds that we have are being aggregated from a lot of independent node operators. If you go back on EVM chain, right, Chainlink has given an example of reading data feeds from a Solidity smart contract. We have this aggregator V3 interface, which is one of the interfaces that we'll use to get the data for Ethereum. And I just want to call something out. So in Solidity, if you want to interact with the smart contract, you need two things, right? So one thing is the contract address, and the other thing is the application binary interface or the ABI. So here, since we are using interface, so compiling interface generates the ABI for us. This is one of the things that we need. And the other thing is we actually need the address. So since all these data feeds are in pairing, and if you see, if I go to this price feed contract address, and since we will be doing the demo on the test net for Ethereum, which is Sepolia, so if you see, we have address for ETH USD. So this is what we need, and then we need the interface that we just discussed. So these are the two things that we need. And now coming back to the point, like how do you know data is decentralized? Okay, so there's a something called decentralized data model, right? And if you see, we need to have some minimum number of oracles for each data feed, right? And for every data feed, the number of oracles required will vary. So if you see in the data feed one, these are the different pairing that we have. So we'll select the ETH USD one. So if you see here, we have 31 Oracle nodes in total, and we require minimum of 21 to say, okay, the data is accurate. So if you see in this case, it was last updated like 46 minutes ago. So the data that will fetch now won't be exactly real time. It will be like 46 minutes ago, one. These are the networks that it's supported on. Okay, let's go back. Example that I've shown you. You can directly open that example in Remix that works. So for this one, I'll show you. So let's go to Remix. So this is the Remix ID that we have. And I was talking about this interface, right? And it has certain number like methods, functions that are out there. And interfaces is a thing that defines the function definitions you have. So once you compile an interface, you get the ABI. So we'll use this interface. If you see, this is our contract called data consumer v3, and here we are importing this interface from Chainlink contracts src, and we have defined a state variable for the interface, and in the constructor we are initializing it. So if you see, this was the same address for ETH USD we got from the Chainlink documentation, and here what we are doing is we are typecasting this address to the type of aggregator v3 interface and storing it in data feed variable. So to get the latest price feed for ETH, we'll call this latest round data function in the data feed state variable that have. And if you click on this method, it returns like 5 variables, and we are not interested in them. What we are interested in is this answer, which is of type int 256. So we'll ignore all the return values separated by just a comma, and we'll store this answer and return it. And just for a reference, I have shown this get decimals method. We'll come to it what it means. So let me quickly compile it. Okay, so this data consumer v3 contract compiles. One more thing to notice, since Chainlink has deployed contracts on the Ethereum public testnet, the environment that we are using is injected provider Metamask. And to be able to run this, you need to have certain number of Sepolia ETH in your MetaMask. So in my case, I have 0.02 Sepolia ETH. And if you're new to the Web3 space and you might be wondering, or even if you, let's say, in this space and you might be wondering what's the best way to get the Sepolia ETH. So yesterday I discovered a bunch of ways, and everybody asks you to either log in or like have some minimum balance on the mainnet. Faucets that I liked was the Google Web3 faucet. It doesn't ask you for a login or any balance. It's pretty cool. And they give like relatively more amount of Sepolia ETH. So if you see in my case, I got 0.05 Sepolia ETH from them. So now let's switch back. So I've already deployed. And if you see, if I call this get chain link data feed latest answer, I get a certain number. And then you remember I was saying this is like the ETH price in USD, but I get like a very big number. How do I make sense of it? Okay, that's why we have this method called get decimals, and get decimals returns 8. So what does it mean is Solidity by itself does not natively support the decimals. So if you see the number that we got, we need to have 8 decimals. So this is what the actual price of ETH is. And if you do a Google search, it is pretty close to 615.79. So the actual price that we got. And there's this another method called get description, which tells you we are using the address for ETH to USD pair. So this is pretty much about it. I hope it was useful. So in the next one, maybe I'll pick another example or I'll use another oracles for the demo purpose. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.